We only die once. We live every day.
Hi there. Welcome to Day Day Meditation Podcast. This is a place where we learn to live in the present moment together. In this episode, Rachel and I explore what it really means to be present and why it's so difficult in real life.
Well, tell me about. I mean, this is your area of expertise, right? I know that you've spent very long time, many years, focused on mindfulness, meditation, doing a lot of things, try to encourage people and inspire people to you know start their journey in terms of mindful meditation. So like I'm actually always curious, what was the what was the initial motivation for you, and how did it get started with kind of that you wanted to explore mindfulness meditation?
You know, part of this reason is related with you, Rachel.
Oh, oh wow, okay.
Yes, yes. Remember when you were hosting the book club in Chicago? I think there was a topic about like try to learn about meditation. There
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a topic.
Yeah. There was a topic, and it was yes. I remember now. It's like broader topics in terms of living in the moment, right? Because I was very big on, and I'm still
Mhm,
very big on living in the moment.
mhm.
Because the present moment is the only really place to live, right? You can't live in the past, you can't live in the future. So I was, yeah, I was reading a lot of books and
Mhm. Yes.
encouraging people to read a lot of books about it.
Yeah, and there was a book that we were reading together back at that time, which is called Principles.
Right.
And in principle, like Ray Dalio, right? He
Yeah.
emphasized like transcendental meditation a lot in his success. Like he was saying, like transcendental meditation was a key factor that helped him be focused, that helped him reflect and have clarity in his mind. Um, so that actually inspired me as well. And that's also related to our activity together back at that time. So all these like events that made me think, oh, what is this? Like, why so many people are doing this and they are so like, obsessed about this. So I went to Transcendental Meditation Center to learn about it. And the moment that I learned about this, it feels just so natural and like it it taught me to do meditation 2 times per day, one time for tw 20 minutes every day, right? And then it's like every day after I wake up and after I have after I finish a whole day of work. So this routine feels really natural. And since day one, I started learning transcendental meditation. I just do it every day. And it feels very natural at the same time very helpful for me. Like it helped me to be very focused. It helped me to have clarity in my mind. I feel like every time when I was doing transcendental meditation, like I my mind become clear and I have energy again to do so many things. Um, Otherwise, I will feel like so exhausted, like especially after the whole day of work. Like I wouldn't have energy to do anything. I might just like spend time like on my phone or just watch TV shows during the night. But like after doing meditation, like I feel so clear and I have the energy to think about some important questions again. Like, oh, what are something that I love to learn, that I want to read. All of this require energy, like mental energy. So So it definitely helped me a lot, in terms of being focused, like having the energy to do things and get the clarity in my mind. So after that, like for a few years of practice, I'm like, I think it would be so wonderful to just teach meditation. Um, I think that would be the perfect job, right? Like you get to practice meditation at your work. Um, so that's how I got into like practicing meditation, teaching meditation. Um, and yeah, and now I am a meditation teacher, and I'm actually quitting my like high pay corporate job. I'm now a meditation teacher. So
Wow, I mean, this is like 10 years ago now, right? Like when I started the book club, this was 2016, actually, 10 years, exact 10 years now.
mm,
And I feel like it's even more important nowadays
mm,
to pause during the day, you know,
mm,
in your case twice, to really just regain that clarity. Especially nowadays. Why? Because it's like so much noise,
mm,
everything, right? At work, the world, there's so much, and you know, with all the AIs and all the technology advancements, but it actually made, you know, it actually complicated the world a lot more.
mm,
And so
yeah.
that's you know even more important for us to be able to see through all these noises to actually see the essence of things. You know, I was very big on minimalism, essentialism, and really see through the core.
Mm, mm,
And nowadays it's even harder to do because there's so much more noise,
mm,
distractions, you know, in our lives or work or in the world that we
mm.
actually need meditation even more than 10 years ago.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
so it's regaining the energy,
Mm,
right? But it's also about the ability to see through distractions and to you mentioned the word clarity.
mm,
When there's so much noise, there's so much fake things
mm,
and fake
mm.
point of views that it's even more important to see through things to
Oh,
the
for
core.
sure. Yeah, I think with the AI and all this complication of the world, the mess that is going on right now, it's even more important to reflect and think about what's truly important. Especially the unimportant jobs are going to be taken by AI and robots coming out. Um, and the core of us as a human with a physical body, is something that needs to be explored. Um, so I do believe that with the AI and all these robots coming out, having the time to meditate and reflect can help us to find what's important to be a human.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people are like, oh, you know, the AI can help you do accomplish a lot of repetitive, unimportant tasks so that it frees up human time to do what's important. But then you ask yourself, then what is important right now? They
Yes.
have all this free time. So yeah, meditation can help you regain that clarity to actually know what's important, like, right?
Mm-mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so but I'm curious because you mentioned transcendental meditation. And in my mind, that's actually the first time I heard about it. Like
Mm,
when I like kind of getting into it, because initially I thought mindfulness meditation, that was kind of the name of it. Is
mm,
there like difference between these two or it's kind of very similar?
mm. Yeah, I mean there are difference. Like although the concept is evolving, right? So meditation used to be, a practice in Buddhism culture, right? You sit down with your eyes closed. Sometimes you might see people doing this like lotus like posture, this kind of formal sitting down is considered meditation with the eyes closed. And some of the meditation are focusing on breathing, some of them are focusing on a sound, a mantra. But the core essence of meditation is about paying attention to what's here right now at this moment without any judgments. This is the philosophy behind meditation. And this philosophy is called mindfulness. So mindfulness, it's a way of living. It's a philosophy of life. And mindfulness now is a big term as well, right? This is a term that is popularized by John Kabat-Zinn, Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, who was a researcher at first. He was doing a lot of meditation mindfulness research decades ago and kind of popularized this concept as a non-religious kind of meditation. And so that everyone can do it, right? You don't have to be a Buddhist to practice meditation because this is really, a way of living. So that's why mindfulness now used a lot and in different concepts and like mindfulness app like Headspace, Calm, like all of this, they mainly mention mindfulness, right? Because it's a non-religious practice, so that it's accessible to everyone. So yeah, so that's the difference between mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah, it's very helpful, I have to say. Even though I started this whole thing for you,
Mm.
but recently I know that you have, a YouTube channel that's dedicated to this, and you've been creating a lot of good videos on that. I have to admit that I watched everything and kind of followed your it's because it's guided meditation, right? So like I
Mm.
just put on play mode and I was just doing it along with you. And I think you've probably created 20 plus videos or like 30 plus videos about it. I have to admit that a couple of them, when I was practicing it with you, your guidance, I cried. I think there was one like about letting go.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple, right? A couple of videos about letting go of different
Mm.
things, and I cried. And it's very hard to do, but it's very, living in the present moment is also about letting go of other things.
Mm.
Your anxiety about the future, or like, your worries at the moment. So when people say, "Oh, like, why is it so hard to live in the present moment?" Right? And it shouldn't be because that's the only moment that you can actually live in.
Yeah.
But my you know my experience told me that it was so hard. It was probably the hardest thing to do because it requires you to let go a lot of things. That
Mm.
was the harder part.
Yeah. Yeah. Because our mind has a tendency to look in the past or look in the future. And it's very automatic and this tendency is very strong. So it makes it really hard to just be here, to just like notice, hey, what's here right now? Like I am in a park, I am surrounded by all the trees, I'm with my friends right now. Like the present moment is really hard to notice because the mind always goes to the past or the future. So yeah, it's definitely very hard. And Rachel, I am curious. I want to hear your perspective. Like, what is presence? Like, what does like being present mean for you?
I think that's the only moment we can live in. That's my base.
Mm.
But like you said, sometimes, especially when people are experiencing things in life, you you you're inclined to focus on either the past or the future.
Mm.
And because, you only have that so much energy and kind of like brain capacity. So if a lot of brain capacity are used to think about the future or the past, then you don't have much left to think about the present moment. So we tend to it's not like lack of effort to, focus, right? I definitely want to regain my center back to the present. But then, it's too much details about the past and about the future. So I don't think I am there yet. I've been practicing this for a long time,
Mm,
but I don't think I'm there yet, especially when something happened in your life.
mm,
You just, it's just so easy to just go back to the old habits, right? Habits is
mm,
very, what's the saying? Old saying was like old habits die hard or something. It's very hard to go back to the old habits. So I have to constantly pulling myself back to the present moment.
mm,
But again, like, you know, we have to acknowledge that the present moment is the only moment
mm.
that we can actually live in.
There's a concept like even when we think about the past or the future, as as long as we see it, like we see like from distance, like oh, I am looking at myself right now, and myself now is thinking about the past and the future. This is also called living in the present because being in the present moment means that we see what's going on right now, even though the mind is in the past or in the future. As long as we are able to see it, this is like, oh, we have a separate kind of self, and that is above and beyond. That look at our other self going through life, going through different moments, and we kind of notice it and recognize what's going on with the other self. That experience is also called living in the moment. So it's okay if we like wander to the past or wanders to the future, or we have some kind of automatic habits, it's that we just immediately do things without thinking. Like we would just, immediately think about all the things that we need to do tomorrow, the food that we need to eat for tonight, or we think about the past, and then we have the emotions like immediately being triggered, like, oh, because I thought about that layoff that, happened last year. And if it feels very sad and desperate, like all this, it's okay. As long as we have a kind of a intentional effort to kind of observe it as if this is separated from, our self, like there are two selves going on.
Yes, yes,
Mm,
yeah, no, that's very spot on actually.
mm,
So living in the moment, present moment, the current moment, it's about perspective, right? So if,
mm.
what you're saying is, not living in the present moment means living in the past or living in the future. So it's just one self that you're basically reliving the past experience,
Yeah, it's
right?
like you are
And then
living it without, you are literally living
like you're
in
you're
it
there.
without knowing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This thing probably happened, right? Pain, whatever, already gone with the wind for very long, but then you keep going back to the past and relive it, the
Mm,
moment, the emotions being triggered. But the things in reality has happened already. It's in the past.
hmm.
So it's just you refuse to live in the present moment and continue to live in the past. And that's probably, I mean, you're also becoming a therapist now too,
Hmm.
right? So I'm sure a lot of like depression, right? Like that happens because, people experience something, but that thing or the pain has long gone, right? That in reality it's gone already. But then they refuse to come out of that, living the present moment, and then they just tend to kind of relive that, in the past and being triggered, the emotions, everything. So that's That's a good point. It's the perspective, right? And
Yeah.
again, the same thing happens for living in the future too, right? So you keep
Mhm.
thinking about what's next, what's next, what's next. You forget about like, to enjoy what you're getting right now. So like you're just constantly moving the guidepost, right? I want this, but then you get in and okay, I want immediately you want something else.
Mm.
So you're not really enjoying. So in another word, we kind of talked about last podcast too, is like, is the destination more important or the journey, right? And because if the destination is important, then the destination for all of us is death. No
Mm.
one is going to escape that.
Mm.
So it's more important about the journey. I mean, you have your callings, your dreams, because that determines which road, which journey you're taking, and that's different between the journeys. So that's why the destination matters in that case, but it's not like 100% about it because the destination for all of us is death.
Yeah, it's like journey is more important because when we
Exactly.
focus on the journey, we focus on the moment, the everyday that we are living, and that's how we can really, I guess, grow or experience that it's in our hands, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So if you're like living in the future, I'm just gonna tell you the future for everybody is death. So let's not do that. Right.
Uh,
So recently I went to Athens, right? So there's a
mhm.
restaurant, and I was getting breakfast, and then on the wall there's like a poster of like Charlie, and Snoopy, and kind of that
Mm,
that cartoon, and on the wall Charlie basically said, this very famous, you only live once, right? It's very famous, slogan, kind of characterized a lot of us, Gen Z or millennials kind of view of life is you only
mm,
live once, right? So just enjoy life. But then Snoopy on the poster responded, it was like, wrong, Charlie. We only die once. We live every day. That was great. I mean, like, it's kind of talking about the same thing, but it's the way that Snoopy was looking at this was I just feel like it's more powerful to
mm.
take that kind of perspective, looking into life and looking into live, right? So live every day.
Yes.
Yes, like you only live once, so let's just whatever, like, but we just switch the perspective a little bit. No, you actually only die once. But then
Yeah.
it's the every day, every minute together becomes
Mhm.
your life.
Yes, exactly. Like this really changed the perspective.
Well, so tell me about how you approach letting go. I mean, that's kind of a topic that's at least dear to my heart at the moment, or for the
Mm.
past few years now, is learning how to let go.
Mm. Mm.
Right? You mentioned about two selves, right? Like the current self, as long as you're looking from the current moment to the past, right? So two selves, separating that, right? That's also letting go of some kind of from different way of saying letting go of the old self, right? Looking at yourself from a God's view, bird's view. So how do you first, how do you think about letting go? Why is it so important? And two is that how do you practice and achieving, be able to let go of a lot of things.
Yeah. How do I f think about letting go? I think it's definitely very important, right? Because if we're not letting go, it's suffering. It's a fixation on things. It's a controlling mindset, like, oh, because if we don't let go, when we grab it really tight, that really requires effort and it's very energy consuming, very suffering.
I feel like, because I experienced that lately.
Mm.
I feel like is me holding on to a very hot coal, like onto my hands. It's very hot and it's
Mm.
burning and it's
Oh,
very painful, but I just wouldn't like,
oh,
I'd be like, oh my God, this is so hot, and I'm holding on to it, and it's very painful. It's creating a lot of pain. I don't want pain, but then I just won't let it go. As
mm.
long as I let it go, it sounds very simple. I just let it go, and it wouldn't, right? It wouldn't hurt anymore. But
Yeah,
I kept just holding on to it, and that's just
exactly.
basically kind of the source of the suffering,
That's a
right?
great analogy for sure. Yeah. Um,
But somehow it's very hard. So that's why I kind of, I was curious, kind of the second part of it was how do you maybe use meditation
mm,
or some other ways? How do you practice letting go?
mm,
Art of letting go.
mm. I think the first is a mindset to realize that nothing is within our control. Literally nothing. Um, really reminds ourselves that nothing is within our control. And that's just the nature of things. And that's related to how things are always changing, with or without our control. It's always changing. So it's like try to stop the water, right? This running water, and then you use a hand like and constantly like try to block it. And it's like it's unstoppable, but we are constantly trying to stop it. So like the nature of the water, it's always moving and changing. And then we have to remind ourselves because this is something that we can easily forget because the human mind has a tendency to want to control. And that's how we build this human society, this civilization, right? We change how the world is running, how the earth is running. We cut down trees, we like um, domesticated animals, like we plant all this, agriculture in order to build this civilization. Like changing things is in our mind, it's in our genes. But if we use this, to grab on things that is literally not changeable, then it's always suffering. So so constantly I will remind myself like really nothing is within our control. There may
That's
be
true.
things,
Yeah.
there may be things, but it's definitely not like something external. There could be
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
that, yeah.
I think in addition to the concept of control,
Mm,
so like as you were talking about it, I was trying to think, then why do we want to control things so much? Um, I think the essence of this and tendency to control things is ownership. We want to own something to ourselves, right? Like, we want to have something, right? Like a better job, a better house, some kind of like things that we want to. So it's about possession,
yes.
right? So then when you don't have it, you want to have it. So you want to control, right? Like once you have it, you're so afraid of losing it, right? So you're like just even more control.
Mm,
But when you say like nothing is within our control, it's kind of like saying that we don't really actually truly, we can never actually truly own anything, right? If you think about it,
mm.
like the moment that we were born, or even the chance that we were born, it wasn't our decision. We didn't control that. We didn't say, hey, I want to be born or I don't, right?
Oh yeah.
Our parents made the decision for us, basically.
Not even our parents. Like this is
Yeah,
all random.
very random, right? So like, and then our name was given.
Mm,
So we don't own that name either. Our name was given by someone. And then later, you grow up, you want to have a job, you were given a job.
mm,
and then you lose your job, so it was taken away from you, right? When you're going through life and you make all this money, right? You don't own any of them, right? Like when you die, you cannot take with you any of those, right? So so if you think about it, we desire so much about owning things,
Mm,
controlling things, but we actually don't cannot own anything.
yeah. Then, Rachel, I'm gonna ask you why we desire to control things. What needs does it satisfy for us?
I like when we talk about
Mm,
control, like I always, my answer has always been the same.
mm,
I've been really like focused on this question a lot for the past my adulthood.
mm,
I think because human, and when we say human nature to, civilization, etc., I think deep, deep, deep down the essence of it is that human are weak,
mm,
very weak, right? Just think about it. A lion or like tiger, right, or any bigger, they can just like eat us, right? Like
mm,
we're not the strongest animal, right, on
mm,
Earth.
mm,
We have a brain. I think that's probably what we have, right? And we
mm,
have the ability to communicate and to go on something as a group, right?
mm,
So, but like individually, we're pretty weak, right? Any animal can kind of take down us, right? We're not the largest, we're not the strongest, right? So we're not the fastest, right? Just think about it, like how, so we're pretty weak.
mm,
So we kind of naturally want to be like, you know, want to own our own destiny, right? So
mm.
that's kind of like the initial ownership. We want to control our destiny. We don't want to be controlled, right? We don't want something else make the decisions for us.
So are you saying that because we want to have control because we don't want to die easily?
Exactly. Right? It's just like a survival game, right? We have a brain, so then we want to plan. We have plan A, B, C, D, E, right? Like to avoid, you know, in the past, avoid death or avoid, some, horrible things. But in that sense, because we're so weak that we want to kind of, control our destiny a little bit more,
Mm. So
right?
it's like controlling satisfy our safety needs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Make us feel
Yeah,
safe.
yes, yes. So
Mm.
so that's why like human need relationships, right? You need groups. And when we're alone, we're really, really terrified to be
Mm.
alone. In any
Mm.
situation, we just human nature to fit in, right? To
Yeah.
to just be just blending
Yeah.
and to have support because when you're alone, it's just so fearful, right?
Yeah.
It's the horrified situation to be alone for human beings because we're just weak.
Yeah, because if we are alone, then we cannot like, ask for support, then it's easily eaten, right, by the tiger.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, right? So
Oh.
so we just I think from the very beginning, because of that, we just want some control of our
Mm.
own destiny, our safety. I think that was the beginning of it. But then so kind of like feel secured, right?
Mm.
Security. And later it becomes job security and other things. But at the end of the day, it's security, right?
Yes.
Why we work so hard, why we want to save money, and what are we saving for? All about safety, right?
Mm.
Securities. Because we just, if we don't have things, right, possessions, we feel so alone and so vulnerable.
Mm, mm, mm.
So the
Yeah.
security is what human really naturally
Yeah.
searching for.
Yeah. But in this modern society, this kind of mindset is outdated, isn't it?
I don't think it's outdated
You don't
because
think?
it's still very dangerous outside, but
Okay.
I think people are, you know, it's no longer life death situation anymore, but then they somehow forget about the bigger perspective and treating some of the smaller things as life death situation, right? Like, when they say like job securities or other things, like it's right, they become a little bit this is like brought to like out of the perspective a little bit, out of context a little bit, right? It's not everything in life now is life death decisions,
Mm.
right? And then so you see like some kind of like personality is very control, right?
Mm.
There's like there's certain personality of people that are very control, like they don't allow any mistakes or any difference between what they planned or what they had in mind and what the reality is, right? So that's kind of pushing the limit a little bit because it's kind of blow up out of proportion in terms of the need for safety and security.
Mm. So are you saying in some perspective, controlling things is actually really helpful for us and it made us feel safe in this modern society?
Well, no, what I'm saying is controlling things, the base, the source of that emotions came from the ancient kind of survival need,
Mm.
but I think it's brought kind of out of proportion nowadays.
Mm.
And so I think recently I read some Buddhism related, articles. It was
Mm.
talking about like we went through things and breakups and job losses and a lot of kind of things in life, and we felt like that was the end of the world.
Mm.
But you know, Buddhists at least kind of thinking about this, the perspective is except for life and death, nothing is too big,
Mm.
right? Everything else is, it's not that. So it's kind of like bringing us back to the core, kind of the survival, right? So like that, yes, like, thousands of years ago, that was a survival, life or death situation. But nowadays, there are a lot of pain, a lot of things that we try to control. It's really not, not that significant. So letting go of that feeling is very important to us.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, in order to let go, we have to realize that this tendency to control might not work in this era, in this moment now. Mm.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's still hard because it's kind of, engraved into our genes now.
Mm.
And this, seeking for control and our destiny is still there. But we just have to like, look at from a different perspective,
Mm.
some of the things, especially when you're experiencing, pains and other things and mental issues, kind of think outside of that. It's very helpful to bring a broader perspective into this.
Right. Yeah. Um, and to let go, I do think the second thing that helps me a lot is to be present, right? Live in the here and now. Like really pay attention to what's going on at this moment. Like, okay, if you're walking, then you walk. Then you truly pay attention to the process of walking. Notice how the feet are touching the ground. Notice your sensations in the body as you walk. Like notice that you are breathing in and breathing out as you are walking. And coming back to all these like small things can break us free from this controlling mindset. Because when we're controlling things that it's either in the future or in the past.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
we are disconnected from this moment, this present moment. We're not noticing what's going on right now. like from our senses, right? Like we are not hearing things, we're not like really tasting things, we're not like touching things, we're not sensing things in our body. We are in our mind to try to control this, like try to get back with like with a job that we lost, try to think about, oh, I really need to find a job soon. Like that is all about the future. That is not about what's here right now, right?
Yeah.
So paying attention to what's here right now really helps to let
It's
go.
very hard. It's
Yeah.
very hard.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, it's very hard. And I think there's a term that's called autopilot, right? And they say
Mm.
like, oh, my life is on autopilot. A lot of us, especially, into your late 30s, 40s, you just, a lot of, responsibilities in life and all around and work and life and it's hard to have a moment for yourself,
Mm.
for meditation even like 20 minutes just all to yourself and then just refocus it, regain some clarities, get closer to like basically talking to your own heart, right? And how you feel about things. And I think nowadays people just don't have the time and to focus on themselves. And so it's always, yeah. So people are like basically commenting like, my life is just on autopilot. They're
Yeah.
just going through the motions every day.
Yeah.
And
This
every
is
single
so
day.
fast. Yeah. Everything is, this fast-paced society, right? Because it's so fast, so we are losing connection with the present moment. When
We're
things are
losing connection with ourselves.
Yeah, with ourselves, like with ourselves, meaning like our senses, that we don't know what we are thinking. We don't, I mean, at this moment, we don't know we are thinking. We don't know we are like touching. We don't feel our body at this moment. We are disconnected from who we are, ourselves at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are disconnected from living.
Mhm.
If we want to come back to the living in the present moment. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's that not an ideal way to go through
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. So that's also why, like, in order to be present, it requires us to slow down in some way, to to slow down, and that's how we will be able to sense things, to feel things, right? When we slow down, then we notice, oh, that's how this food tastes actually. Because when we're going doing so fast, just like eat food, like like immediately swallowing it, then you don't really taste it. Because when we slow down, that's the moment where we get to taste things. That's the moment we get to really notice what's going on in our mind as well. If we have thoughts, like when we slow down, we pay attention, then we realize, oh, actually I was thinking about this. Like that separation of the two self will happen. Then you will be able to stand like high and beyond to look at your other self. When things are going so fast, like it's all blended. Everything is just like, my God, it's like there's no room to even pay attention, right? To use our senses.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's even harder, right? Because the world is getting faster and faster, right? So
Mhm.
it's even harder. I think 10 years ago when there was a book that I tried to let everybody to read in the book club. It's called a
Mm.
slowness. Yeah. So it's like trying to instill a culture of slow doing things, right? So there's like chapter about slow working, and then chapter about slow cities, right? How to have more, how do you, in terms of city planning, a library here or like to build something, a park here, how to build a city that encourage slower behaviors of the
Mm.
residents, right? So there's like one chapter for kind of how do you instill the slow culture in different ways in life. So, and now I just feel like 10 years later, it's just getting worse, right? It's even
Mm.
harder to slow down. I remember there was like saying that, 20, 30 years ago, right? When maybe, yeah, 30, maybe 40 years ago when before the internet and before everything, right? People write letters, mail letters to each other, right? So like when you write a letter, you send it, it takes about like, a month for the other person to receive it, read it, and then send it back, right? So for you, you've been waiting for this for like 2 months. But that just made that letter that you received so much more valuable, right? Things that you want to discuss in there. Whereas nowadays, sending the message over is just so easy and so fast. And the words and the emotions, the feelings, and it's just very, at the very surface level. It's not deep anymore. Things that we read, relationships, everything is just so surface level
Mm,
than before, right? So living in the present moment is make it's kind of I wrote something 10 years ago for the book club too. Was like it life is more about the depth than the width of life. It's the depth, right? So things are supposed to be when you live in the present moment, things are you know the meanings is much deeper,
mm,
right? When you slow down, enjoy the moment, that moment becomes deeper,
mm,
has more meaning to it, right?
yeah.
So when you walk, you're feeling the steps, then that one step forward is more meaningful
Mm-hmm.
versus walking was just a mode of transportation.
Mm,
Right? Even eating, right? There was a
mm,
chapter in that book about eating, slow eating,
mm,
slower conversations, having real conversations, right? It's just the slowing things down, living in the present moment is to live a deeper and more meaningful life,
yeah.
right? Right? But if your life is on autopilot and then you don't have the time to slow down, pause, and think about or connect to your heart, connect to yourself,
Mm,
then every day blend together. You don't even remember. And it doesn't
yeah.
even matter what you did.
Mm, mm, mm.
It's not creating values, conversations, right? Like you don't remember anymore what was discussed because you were not in the moment. You were checking your phones, you're thinking about something else. Then what's the point of your life if you're not really living it,
Oh,
right? So
that's a question that a lot of us need to think about,
yeah,
especially right now in this AI era.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. When you say like to regain clarity through meditation,
Mm,
in my terms, is to look through the distractions, to look through it, and to see the core,
mm,
which is the same thing as to see the point, right? What is the point of all
mm,
these actions, and what is the point? Right? Just like having that moment to pause and then just ask yourself, what was the point?
mm. Yes, Rachel, and
Right?
I think that's a good point to pause here and
Okay.
really think about what's the point.
What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll throw out a joke that I always joke around was like,
Um,
what is the point? And the response was, there's no point, right? Because the world is round. There's no point. But yeah, yeah, that's a question that I come back to myself over and over again is what is the point?